If you scroll through social media, wealth looks like flashy cars, exotic trips. You get the picture. But the actual data, it tells a completely different story. Real, lasting wealth, it turns out, isn't glamorous at all. It's actually built on a foundation of, well, boring habits, the kind of unsexy stuff that quietly compounds over time into true financial freedom. Take a look at this number, $772. So what is that? Well, according to Edmunds, that was the average monthly payment for a new car in late 2023. And get this, over 20% of new car buyers are now signing up for payments over $1,000 a month. And let's be clear, this isn't a sign of wealth. It's a financial trap. Americans now owe over $1.6 trillion in auto loan debt. That one single expense is one of the biggest roadblocks standing between most people and their financial goals. And it's not just the huge, big-ticket items either. Consider this number, $1,500. That's how much food the average American family of four just throws away every single year. I'm not talking about what they eat. This is the stuff that goes straight into the trash. That car payment, all that wasted food, they show a fundamental gap between how people typically spend money and how wealth is actually built. The best way to think about it is like leaks in a bucket. They're constantly draining your financial potential before you can ever really fill it up. And that brings us to the core idea of this whole explainer. The habits we're about to cover, they won't get you a ton of likes on Instagram. They're probably not going to be super interesting conversation at a party, but they work. They are the proven, if unglamorous, path to financial independence. All right, first up, let's tackle the two biggest money pits for most of us, transportation and food, and figure out how we can plug those leaks for good. So the first unsexy habit, drive an older, paid-off car. A brand new car loses about 20% of its value the second you drive it off the lot. I mean, poof, thousands of dollars just vanish instantly. The wealth-building path, on the other hand, is a reliable 5-year-old car that's already taken its biggest depreciation hit. This one choice flips a decision that creates debt into a really powerful opportunity to save. Okay, next, let's talk about that $1,500 food waste problem. We can tackle it with two super simple habits. First, eat the same 4 or 5 meals on rotation. And second, eat everything you buy before you go restock. The benefits here are massive. Your grocery bills become predictable, waste just plummets, and people who do this report saving 30 to 40%. Seriously. Plus, you get really, really good at cooking those few meals, which saves time, money, and a whole lot of mental energy. All right, on to section 2. Plugging the daily leaks. Now, these are the small, what seem like insignificant habits that have a massive compounding impact over time. $2,000. That's roughly what you spend every single year just by buying one of those fancy coffees every workday. Think about that. A drink that costs, 50 cents to make at home ends up costing thousands. So what if you didn't spend it? Well, this is what happens. This is what happens when you invest that money instead. Making your coffee at home and investing the savings, we're talking about $1,800 a year, is just staggering. After 10 years, that's over $28,000. After 30 years, it's almost $250,000, all from one simple, boring little habit. The next two habits are all about one simple idea, reintroducing a little bit of friction into your spending. So, habit 5, bring your own food everywhere you go to avoid those impulse buys. And habit 6, shop in person. See, online shopping is literally designed to be effortless. By forcing yourself to go to a physical store, you create this natural barrier against those mindless clicks and impulse buys. Okay, section 3 is all about automating your financial success. The goal here is to build wealth by default, not by trying to rely on daily discipline or willpower. And this brings us to habit number 8, pay yourself first. Most people get paid, then they pay their bills, then they spend, and then they kind of hope to save whatever's left. The wealthy do the exact opposite. They completely invert this process. The moment their paycheck arrives, money is automatically transferred to savings and investments. That becomes the very first bill they pay, and then they live on whatever's left over. Your lifestyle just adapts, and your wealth grows automatically in the background. And that system is so critical because of this wild fact from Goldman Sachs. Even people earning $500,000 a year report living paycheck to paycheck. Why? It's a little thing called lifestyle creep.
As your income goes up, your spending goes up right along with it. The ninth habit directly fights this. Live 2 years behind your income. So when you get a raise, just pretend you didn't. Bank the entire difference, and you'll create an incredibly powerful savings engine.
So, do these boring habits actually work? Well, let's move on to section 4 and just look at the data. Research on over 10,000 millionaires reveals a picture that looks nothing, and I mean nothing, like what you see on social media. First things first, let's debunk a huge myth. A staggering 79% of millionaires are self-made. They didn't inherit their wealth from a rich uncle. They built it, brick by boring brick, over time. So how would they do it? They drive Toyotas, Hondas, and Fords. They got there by consistently investing in their 401ks over an average of 28 years. And this part is crucial. Not a single one of the 10,000 millionaires they studied said that picking individual stocks was their key to success. It was all about those consistent, boring, repetitive habits. So finally, section 5, the boring path to freedom. Let's put this all together. What is the actual real-world financial impact of adopting these unsexy habits? Well, the potential savings are pretty staggering. I mean, when you actually tally it all up, the numbers are incredible. An older car, smart food habits, homemade coffee, packed lunches, less impulse buying, it all adds up to a potential of $13,000 to $22,000 in savings every single year. And what does that kind of annual saving lead to over time? It leads to this: $1.2 million. That is the ultimate prize for decades of consistent, boring habits. And look, this isn't magic. It's just math. That $1.2 million is simply the result of investing the savings from those habits, around $15,000 a year, and just letting it compound at a reasonable rate over 25 years. The boring habits directly produce the millionaire outcome. So really, it all comes down to a choice. One path is all about prioritizing the appearance of wealth. The other is about building actual wealth. One path looks great online. The other creates real, lasting financial freedom. So the only question left is, which path are you going to choose?